want to take this seat?
Wow. Yeah, I was trying to make sure that with enough sound, so but it's the microphone won't do it. Ah, don't fall over. So there's nobody online watching. So just so you know, there isn't anybody online watching. Oh, I switched off now again.
In front of everybody. What? I don't have any problem at all.
Right then, first of all, welcome everybody to the Chamber meeting tonight. The bids has been an ongoing process for some time on the Chamber's agenda. My name is Jenny Fox and I'm Secretary of the Chamber. And today John Nash will be speaking to you. John Nash is the manager of St Catherine's Hall, but also John Nash is the auditor with the Chamber and has been, can we say, battling for this bid process to be at least spoken about in town, to find out how the traders feel and whether it's something that we can look to the future to enhance the experience that people have when they come to the town, whether it be the shopper, the visitor, or anybody else possibly who wants to know about the heritage of the town. It's quite wide-ranging. But before we actually get going, because I'm aware that there are people in the room that possibly don't know other traders, a lot of traders work independently, I'm very much aware of that. So we can go around if that's okay, just say our name and the business we're from and the location of that business in the town, if that's okay. So I'm going to hand over straight away to Nathan, who's waiting here. And if you wouldn't mind standing up as well, and shouting at the top of your voice.
My name's Nathan. I own the All-North Trade Development on Bridge Street, and we are a museum for Professional, Chief Commander, Chief Matt Davis from the Parrot, and Tangle Carrot, and Vice Chair on King Street. Ian Lewis, on
You can go your own feet now. Sarah, I'm on the feet too. You've copied from which is up here on the two streets. And take the two guys from white source on John Davis, Winston Simon, Optimus, Tommy Johnstone,
Henry Lloyd Davis, Norma Davis, office from King.
I'm James, I'm my good shop on King Street. David Thompson, 12, King Street.
Ben Costa, my mother's got a property on King Street.
I'm Steve, I'm the store manager of Boots in West Street. Eric Willings Rock.
Andrew Wilkins, another work in Paul Street, and you have to ask me to get out because I want to get membership form, so we're not members.
Henry, you stole my thunder.
Here we are, here for the Carmarthen Town.
Wing Thomas, Carmarthen Town.
Martin Scott, Hearing Aid Solutions, King Street.
People Scott, same place.
Right, Christine Davis from Blossom Associates in Red Street. Wait, and no.
Yeah, I'm John. Thank you all for coming. Before I start off, I'm no expert on bids. What I am is a concerned partner in businesses in Carmarthen. By that I mean I'm interested in all business in Carmarthen, not just the one I manage for my daily bread. The reason I've been trying to push this for the last couple of years is the fact that I've seen other towns growing with the bid. And I know for a fact that Connectley are going through it at the moment. Alfred West are probably going to go through it. Cardigan will go through it. Because the Welsh Office want 13 new towns with the bids in the next 2 years. If Carmarthen doesn't do it, it won't be one of the 13, it will be one of the ones left behind. So that's been my driving factor. I'll also make another statement. I don't want anything to do with the management of the bid. So I'm not proposing to be a leader of the bid. I will help in any way I can. So what is a bid? It's a company, because it will be a company, if it goes through, it will be a company registered in England and Wales and Scotland. A company formed by business for business. The funding comes from a charge, a levy, on top of the rates for business rates. That levy will be set if this, what I'm going to say is, if it goes through, it gets passed tonight to the next stage and the next stage and so on. If we have a vote in it and it's successful, the it's got to be 50% of the catchment area, which has to be decided by the bid and the business plan, and 50% of the rateable value of the same area. So it's 2 bids, it's got to be 2 major votes it's got to be, go through. And they don't all go through. There are some towns where they don't get bids through, so it's not an automatic success stories. It has to be bid every 5 years, re-elected every 5 years. The committee as well as the bid project. So the directors, normally there's about 12 in a town this size, based on towns like Barnstable, Merthyr. Merthyr is a pretty good one to look at. Everybody wants to see how a bid works and how it's improved the town. Look at Merthyr bid online. Really made a huge difference to a dying town because they were killed by the outdoor shopping centres, uptown shopping centres. Top money. It varies from town to town, but the percentage is decided by the bid committee. So you vote on that. You don't just go into it. It's normally between 1 and 1.5% of your current bids rates. If you went by Llanelli, it's 1.3, Swansea 1.3, Merthyr 1.5. The smaller towns tend to go for the higher percentage, whereas the bigger towns like Swansea, where they've got 800 businesses in the bid, they tend to go slightly down a couple of points. What sort of money will that give us? If we're looking at the catchment area, and I'll explain the catchment area in a minute, what we've looked at in Carmarthen and the rateable value of the businesses in there. If we went for 1%, it's about £130,000 to £135,000 a year for 5 years. 1.5%, obviously 50% more, somewhere around 190,000 thereabouts. There's no reason to say if you went for the first time, the second time you could lower it, you could increase it, depends on the value you think it is. But everything is re-voted again, so it's not a lifetime period for somebody to run the bids. Do you all understand that part of it, how it's collected? The council are the only people that can collect rates, so all the finance has to go through the council, and it's a levy on top.
Right, so is there match funding from anybody else?
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. If you look at Merthyr, Swansea, and not Llanelli because they haven't finished, but Merthyr and Swansea, Swansea's bid value is £540,000 a year. They match funded by over £400,000. So it was nearly £1 million they got in the bid. Merthyr was similar, they're 240,000, something like that, and they match funded about £190,000 on top every year. And that's from sources like the Welsh Office, European grants, Interregs, local businesses who were not in the bid but wanted to be part of it by way of donations, which is another way of doing it. That then is there in the bid. And it's ring fenced for that bid. It can't be used for anything else. And the ring fencing is decided by the business community at the start. So you decide on the priorities. You come up with a business plan, or insensibly done by consultants employed by whoever. You will decide on what you want, what you think is needed in Carmarthen. If you look at Swansea, they spent a lot of money on traffic wardens, taxi wardens, street cleansing wardens, which to me is a statutory duty. I have no, I wouldn't even want to be part of anything like that. But that's what Swansea needed at the time, because it was dire, and it's, to my opinion, it's still dire, but they are succeeding in a lot of ways. And they've got lots of stats to prove that, but they tell different stories to different people. What my idea of bids would be to take over where the event business we had for 5 years in Carmarthen, that was paid for by European funding, Objective 1. And that gave us £125,000 a year to run events in Carmarthen. Purely events, promotion events and PR for the town. And out of that, we run the Merlin Festival, Christmas Festival, Easter, St. David's, and about 5 other little festivals in between. We also employ the person to do it full time. I'm not saying the bids have to, it can be run part time. You don't have to pay anybody, providing you all want to do the work. So the directors have to decide once you're elected to how you want to manage it. Any questions so far? Please interrupt me, stop me at any time. I'm not guaranteed to answer the questions, but if you leave a name, I will come back with the answer to you. I'm doing it.
1% plus a match somewhere just so everyone understands the money that we have to play.
Yeah. Well, 1% would be 125,000 to 130,000. It varies slightly because the value of the businesses and the rate of value of the business are changing in town. A match funding on top of that. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a tidy sum. It's more than what we used to get, and we run a very successful events company for all that money. So yeah.
Is it possible for business to opt out?
Not if the vote is carried and you're in a designated area. Let's go on to that point, the designated area. You have to decide what the designated area is. What streets are in it, what streets are out of it. I would suggest that Pensarn wouldn't be in it. We're talking about the centre of Carmarthen. You know, what I've based the figures I've given you on, for instance, would be Llama Street, King Street, Blue Street, Green Street, Red Street, Hall Street, Bridge Street. So the main arteries of the town, St Catherine Street and Milner's Walk, the two anchors at either end. That would be the main. If there's other little streets off them that may want to be part of it, then they would approach us and say, yeah, we want to be part of it. If there's streets in them that don't be part of it and they get enough votes, so we don't want it, before the vote is voted on, you say we don't want to be part of it. That's the end of the story. So, but once it's voted, if you voted no, but 55% vote yes in both cases, you'll be part of it. Does that answer your question?
Our offices in just shops.
All businesses within town, all businesses within that catchment area. Offices, it could be, you know, anything, estate agents, it's not just retailers. I was asked the question this morning, what benefits would come from an office, say I don't know, a dentist or something. There's a lot of benefits. There's, you know, with this match funding, you can buy things certain grades. You can get your waste cheaper, you can get your electricity cheaper, you can get your gas cheaper. All sorts of things become cheaper. So whether you're in an office or whether you're in a retail unit, it still becomes cheaper. There's a whole list of things. When you've got, you know, it's like if you're buying in bulk, you tend to get things cheaper. Anybody else got a question on that point?
Mr. Johnson, SE, it's a bit iffy, isn't it?
I don't know what to say iffy, I would say lackluster. They started, we started this process about 2.5 years ago, and Ian was on the committee when we sort of looked at it first of all. But you have to have the county council's involvement in this, because they are, you know, they are a partner. They're only one vote on the committee. But you need them to collect the rates, you need them to do the finance to it, the levies has to be run by them. So, but for some reason they wanted to take Llanelli to it first, so they asked us to stand back, and we did. There wasn't much interest in it then at the time anyway, because Carmarthen, you know, to be honest, wasn't doing that bad. Llanelli was in state. They haven't got the same coercion as Carmarthen has for organising things in Llanelli. Whereas, you know, we have a very strong chamber, we have events committees, we have the High Streets campaign going on. So we have lots going on, and this just brings them all together. You know, I had a meeting recently with County Council about the Vintage Fair, the Food Festival, the Welsh Festival next year. All of them are paid for this year by the County Council. There's no saying they will be paid for in 2 years' time by the County Council, because their budgets are squeezing. So all these things that we expect to see in Carmarthen every year, year on, they are dying slowly. You know, and this year we didn't have a Merlin's Festival because the funding was thought better used for the Welsh Festival, which I agree with, in March. So, you know, but one goes out, then another will go out, then we lose this and lose that. So we've got to try and keep that together.
How much does the council contribute, you say?
The council contributes in kind, in the sense that, because theoretically they could charge for the management of it, they could charge for the upgrading of all the software, but in most cases they contribute in kind. We will get a small grant towards the initial consultants fees to start it off, to see if there's a business case for it, because that's the you know, whether Carmarthen needs it. I'm only suggesting we need it, but I'm not an expert. You know, I want people to come in and say, look at the town, and say, where will we be in 5 years' time if we don't do it? That's what I'm worried about. I'll be retired. I'll be sending up somewhere in Spain, hopefully. But I don't want Carmarthen to go down the road of Merthyr, Bridgend, Llanelli, Pembroke Dock. which is quite possible. We're all sitting now with sometimes and everything else.
They also sponsor some events this year. How much would they put in terms of events this year, the council?
Well, for the Welsh office, for the Welsh week, which is St David's Day, for the next 6 days, which is the Saturday after St David's Day, March 1st, there's about 8,000 for that. There is also 4,500-ish for the Vintage Festival. I'm not sure about the Food Festival. There's something like the same again. But in all things, about 30 grand, something like that.
Well, I look at maybe not doing that anymore. So that.
No, I'm not saying they're not doing it anymore. What I'm saying is the budgets. Yeah, you know it's been cut already. You know, CCTV, another story. So these things, if it's not a statutory duty, they're going to look at all the things that are not a statutory duty and say, where can we save the money? And you know, it's probably not their fault. Although I'm not having any exception, but you know, I'm not picking on the county councils. They've had their budget squeezed by 30 or 40 million over the next couple of years. So, you know, we've got to look after ourselves, basically. That's what I think, anyway.
The introduction of the CCTV could be part of this bit. Because
Right.
as you said, John, since they took the cameras away, or at least upgraded the cameras, crime has not come out town centre tremendously.
It has, yeah, and I agree with that. And serious crime has gone up. You all read the papers today and last week, you know, 3 or 4 major events in serious crime. Would they have happened? Probably still happened, but they'd be caught a lot bloody quicker if they were monitoring live. You know, the guys wouldn't have been allowed to go from there to elsewhere and probably got away with it. That's another story. I did propose that we would take all the CCTV in the centre and we would expand our CCTV office because we're a 24/7 operation there anyway. And I was told, yeah, you could do it, but I'd have to take on the 4 people that were made redundant. It's not going to happen. And that's true, because I looked at the 2P regulations, and that would last for about the next 2 or 3 years before I could safely say, let's restart monitoring these cameras. By which time they're probably out of date, and software is knackered and everything else. Where you can gain from it. Yeah, for instance, in Swansea, they all pay for waste collection bags. They buy them on block. They're about 1/3 of the price of what you pay. The electricity they buy on block for certain numbers of businesses. They buy that on block. Not water rates, because that's fairly standard, but advertising, promotion, marketing. Done through this, it's done, they've got deals with the car park, they've got deals with the press, deals with the radio. So all that can come down as well as...
So basically, as well as it being an events group, it's also good as well.
Oh, it most certainly is. It does come on to that in a big way. They do buy... Well, I'm sorry, all I can talk is for myself, and I wouldn't be able to be part of it probably. So I don't know what your costs are, so I couldn't comment on that. I could probably find out. To give you an example. Yeah. Well, let's take a step back and give you sort of a timeline of this. Say we decided tonight, yeah, let's take it forward to the next step. From now to when we get to the vote, it's probably going to be 18 months. It takes between 18 months and 2 years to go from start to finish. So it's not something that's going to be rushed in. It can't by law be rushed in. The law states it's got to go through this process.
The ideal concept is intrinsically sound, but I think to sell the vision, you need a bit of a roadmap that sets out the steps. So there is obviously going to be, like you said, you need something from the business case. There's going to be some money for that. Where is the money?
The money for that initial case is to be part funded by the council. Depends what price we can get it for.
So I think everyone needs to understand the first step is you have to do the business case. Everyone buys into the principle. Business case, it either flies or it does.
If the business case flies and the general retail and business population come out here, that's a great idea. We go to the next step, and that's when you start the ball rolling. The legal side that comes in. Then you form a committee. you form a company and you take it forward from there.
What's everyone's commitment to get to that first point?
Financially, well, financially, it should be, you should pay for the initial review of it, of the town, the business plan. But I believe the county will help with that. We negotiate at the moment. Hopefully we pay it all, as it did internationally. And I'll be old enough to that. Sorry.
Sorry, I was wondering, who were you in the, is it possible to invite someone down who's actually been through this?
He was coming tonight. Simon Richards from the County Council, who's the lead on the bids, was coming tonight, and he emailed me at 5 o'clock to saying he's just been told he had to do something tonight for the county and he couldn't make it. Yeah, we also invited Swansea, and the guys said they would come down and they would charge £500 to £750 a night per person to come into the. Yeah, but who's going to pay for that? You're not committing yourself tonight. I just want to get an idea of the feel for Carmarthen.
I think we didn't we decide in the last chamber meeting that in the autumn we would get something down from Merthyr.
Yeah.
Through on our,
that was to present it to the chamber, but if you want to make it an open meeting, yes, by all means.
Well, one way to get members.
Yeah.
Free to the chamber members, £35 to non-members.
Yeah, you know, I could arrange that. I don't know all the guys in Merthyr. The ones in Swansea have actually formed a company, so they will run the bids projects for other councils, and they charge quite a significant amount. Well, for instance, between £5 and £750 per night just to do an hour's stand-up here. So I'll come around with a hat later. No idea.
Let me tell you, John, I don't know if you explained, I lost the first 30 seconds or something. This suggestion originally came about a town forum meeting, or committee of the town forum?
Many, many years ago.
Yes. There is, of course, now an active town forum with a master plan for this town. And I'm not quite sure where this fits in.
It does fit into the regeneration plan, yes.
Right.
But it's got unfortunately, the regeneration plan is led by the county council. A bid must be led by local business.
Yes.
It cannot be led by the county council by law. They can only be an active participant in the sense that they might have one director on the board of directors and they run the finances. They can't lead the initiative. For instance, they can't call down funding like the bid project can. But it was initially discussed there, yes.
Yes, of course, that is the advantage.
Yeah.
The question you might ask is, would there be a duplication of activity, should we say, between what the town council, which you've not mentioned yet, the town council provides a host of events, the county council, of course. The county council is strapped for cash, the town council not so. We'll have the rates for 7 years. We haven't deputy mayor next time. So, you know, we have further input we could put in.
I agree. That's where your match funding comes in. You know, we don't typically want to compete with anybody. What you're trying to do is enhance what we currently do.
Yes.
So, you know, we make things bigger, better, longer, and more of. That's the idea, is not to compete with anybody.
If I may say one other thing, you mentioned Merthyr and Pembroke Dock, Penetty, Swansea. These are places with serious problems, serious economic problems. Carmarthen is prosperous, and I admire your intention or good vision for the future, if you like. You know, that you're concerned rather for what may happen in 5 years' time. Looking at other bids around Wales and England, they seem to have caught on in poorer towns, but as in Carmarthen and Abergavenny, they've been turned down by the traders.
Yes.
Where you have a lot of
Well, they don't think there's the need for it. You know, I'm not saying that we have a need immediately, but when the county councils and the town councils' budgets have been cut over the next 2, 3, 4 years, what's going to happen? I'm not trying to look at today. I'm trying to, you know, it's going to take 2 years to get to the point where we say we're in a bid, and then look from there for the next 5 years. It's a 5-year project. Can you honestly say that the county can put in 10, 30, 40 grand a year for anything? I don't think so.
In a way, it can be seen as guaranteed funds that we can use to kind of enhance the future if other funding
I try to look at it as if what would happen if we don't do it, rather than what we do with it if we don't do it. That's where I'm coming from in most of the cases. Big,
Anything is when you're not complicated behind it. I wouldn't say Carmarthen is prosperous. Walk around town, you can see the number of shops that are closed, and looking for £20 sales up. It's not as prosperous as some people think. All you do is look at the football figures for King Street this year, and they've halved since March. It's not as affluent. It's been good. It's not as good as it has been over the last couple of years. If we don't do something,
we've just come to the end of the tail end of the recession, but I think Carmarthen, because I'm part of a group that says maybe 20 or 30 shopping centres, and Carmarthen has fared well in that group compared to the others. We are really better off than a lot of towns who have suffered because of it. I'm not saying we haven't suffered. I've seen businesses close down in my centre. You know, they still close down elsewhere. But luckily, our churn rate in Carmarthen is far better than other towns. And the new businesses coming into town is far superior to Llanelli or Merthyr. You know, the biggest thing at Merthyr was pedestrianising that main street, and it closed it off to everybody. Now they're opening it all up, and it's, you know, I went up there recently, it's my hometown. I couldn't believe the difference in it. And the feel of people, the feel of the shops that are actually taking part. The other thing I mentioned now about the bids, one of the problems has always been stuck in my sort of jaw since I've been helping events in Carmarthen. It's a small group that do everything. I'm not saying the council, town council, whatever. And everybody benefits. This way, everybody benefits, but everybody contributes as well. And that's something that you should really think about. You know, you only get out what you put in. And we should all be thinking about that, I think. I've got a list here of some...
Just following what Andy said, how are you going to convince the people now who think that they're going to make it work? Because there are some sectors that are doing it. But how are you going to convince them to be part of all of this with maybe traders that can do the other?
I'm probably not going to be able to convince people like
they're
that.
the younger ones who are not retiring yet. There's a backwards that will disappear in the
It's just a list of benefits from a bit. I mean, I don't know how to answer it because I can't go around. I mean, I walked the town a couple of weeks ago taking all these invitations around, and I spent 3 days going through the rating list for Carmarthen to get as many emails and telephone numbers as I could. 3 days doing that. Then when I started emailing people, I had about 50% rejections because they were moved on. So I could talk to somebody today who was giving me all the details and go back tomorrow and they're now in Merthyr or connected because it's getting better. Well, it is, but churn is sometimes good because if you go to towns that haven't changed for years, you know, they're still stale and that. So, although it's bad for the business is concerned, sometimes it's better for a town that those who didn't succeed or couldn't succeed because of either effort or the position was wrong or the trade they had was wrong. I don't know. You know, I can't answer for that. But we have to do something.
Can you benefit myself and whoever else isn't up to speed on the bids? What is the overriding aim? What's the overriding aim
of a bid?
A big company. What's it set out to do? I mean, you've kind of touched on several things. But
yeah.
What's the overriding?
Because I've touched on several things because the bids leaflet here, 30 odd pages, and I haven't brought them down because I can't afford to print 300 times 30. The overall aim to stop the decline in Carmarthen. That's the overall. That's the aim you want. That should be at the top. You know, keep Carmarthen like this and make it prosper. How do we do that? That's when you have a company comes in and says, look, King Street needs this, Water Street needs that, Blue Street needs this. So that has to be part of your business plan. The business plan comes after this whole discussion and several months down the line when you say, yeah, we think we've got enough people who will help us with it.
These are all these ideas that might come to fruition. Are they all going to require planning permission?
No. These are for events. You know, we're not talking about changing street signs, and we may talk about it if that's what you want in a bid. We're not talking about direction different traffic. We're talking about laying on events and doing the promotion and marketing and advertising Carmarthen and making the websites better in Carmarthen, making cohesive. So when you go to one, you can be directed to others. Currently, we have about 15 websites in Carmarthen, And when you try to find something, you don't know where the hell you're going. You know, that's one of the things which I would say is part of the marketing plan, which is be a subset of the main business plan.
Signage of that.
Yeah, you know, it is. We in today's paper was on about signage. Some people's their sign is legal, his sign is not. It's been there for 20 years more than. So,
No, it's a mess, isn't it?
well, this is where you involve the committee. But with the bids, also you get on board with the council. They take more notice of bids because it's the whole population, I've got to say.
So it's just the traders, not the residents.
Just the businesses.
And we just bear that in mind.
Yes, I know that, yeah.
But what it does is it empowers the businesses to have a lot of money to decide how to best use it each year to promote the city.
For instance, did you know that, did you all know, did you know the events that's going on in the next 12 months? Anybody take part in here and say what's on?
It all seems to be sort of half-hearted as well.
Well, no, really. I mean, we've got the Vintage Festival, and that's something new for Carmarthen, and that's an idea which is catching on across the clothing industry, because that's making a comeback. The Welsh Festival, we should always have a Welsh Festival, to be honest. The heart of Wales, we should always have a festival. We've had the one-day event. You know, let's promote the town for what it is, as a Welsh-speaking town. Let's do the business properly. Luckily for me, the Welsh partners have taken all that because I'd be lost, so I don't speak Welsh. The Christmas, we don't do enough at Christmas, so that can promote it better. We've got a food festival, which we've been trying to get off the ground for 2 years. The first one is it's going to be quite small, but we don't expect it big on the first day. We'll have another one next year, we'll make it bigger. But they're self-financing. You know, might need more promotion, which is what the bids could do. The actual running of food festival, people pay to be in there, and that's what pays for the festival.
If they're half-hearted, engaged.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. If you're actually paying some money to it, you're more likely to engage with it.
So if that's the overriding aim, to improve what's been done so far, it has been half-hearted. Those stupid signs across the street in King Street, they're meaningless. So if it means taking all this away and doing it again from the beginning,
It is about sort of regaining control of our own. What we want is this business to be.
I just,
And not just moaning about people, moaning about the council not doing it or so and so not doing it. Actually get on and do it.
I'll give you some of the things that Swansea have done, which I totally disagree with, right? And so it might give you an idea of where I not want to be part of something. They spent a fortune on antisocial behaviour. So it brought antisocial behaviour down 9.3%. All of the police in the county, 11% on reduction in crime. Again, police job. It's all about city rangers. They employ 8 city rangers. They employ 4 taxi marshals to marshal outside nightclubs, so there's no fights. Well, to me, that's the nightclub owners should be doing that. You know, they employed somebody to remove 1 million pieces of gum. Whose job is that? Street. You know, so them are the things I would not want to be part of it. Although some could be with an arrangement with the county. You might want to say, they might say, well, we'll join that and we'll give you this to do that. But that's all to do at the later stage. These booklets I've got here, there's huge amounts of information just on the Welsh side of it. If anybody wants it, if you leave your email address with somebody here, I will email all the information I've got. But what I would say is look at the towns that are actually doing it. Merthyr, for instance, is a really good example. Swansea not so good because they've done things which I wouldn't. Look, I'm just looking at the calendar.
Is there anything in Carmarthen?
No, I don't think so. Providing if you need planning, you can get planning. If you meant putting up a big sign to promote Carmarthen, sign which we designed, which we put up, you could do it. You'd have to go through the normal planning process. You probably couldn't, there again, if the town, they have looked at redesigning roads in certain parts of town. Well, you could assist with them with the signage. We know certain parts of town are not covered by signage. So that could be done, but that needs planning. Yes, sir.
Max funding. You say it would be max. I mean, obviously, if it's expensive, I have no choice of my family. So is that max funding guaranteed?
No, of course not. Match funding is where you...
Is there a danger then that what we're doing is just moving funds from what the council currently pays, and they can then turn around and say, we don't need
No, because you're not taking over council duties. They still have a
You're
statute.
talking about festivals, but at the moment, the council.
Yeah, but they could stop them anyway.
Well, of course they could, but they're not at the moment, but they more likely.
But they have.
Put
They,
less money in.
but they have stopped this year. The Merlin Festival hasn't happened this year, which has happened for the last 15 years.
It worries me that this is just a move with the front rather
No.
than
No. It's not been in you know, from my idea anyway. I wouldn't want to be part of it if it was.
So you just listed a whole load of things that shouldn't be paid for by this process.
But that,
and this is a slippery slope.
but no, it's not a slippery slope at all. Swansea identified them areas as part of their business plan, and they agreed up front before it voted on to do that. Now, before you vote on it, you'll have a business plan set out in front of you. This is what we're going to do. If you don't like it, you don't vote.
But the move that's done, I mean, something that Chamber of Trade should be running in doing.
Yeah, I agree.
So, you know,
I give you an example of what are the negatives. I didn't give you an example of the positives. I give you an example of the negatives that Swansea does. That's something I said I wouldn't be part of.
So basically, the bids process will, the committee will give a list of things that they want to do in Carmarthen, whether it's festivals.
You decide.
You decide. You have a list of things. This is what we want to do if the bids are successful. It goes out to everybody, and everybody thinks, "Oh, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. I like this." You vote on it, and it goes through. That's what happens.
You would have your own directors. You know, you'd have maybe one from Red Street, one from King Street, one from Blue Street, Llama Street. They will be the driving force of the business. From that point, you know, there is a time scale. It's very hard to go through it all, but in the development of the bids. But then you go to the business need. It's following this meeting, if there's enough interest tonight, do we take it further? Do we not take it further? You know, I'm not going to be pushing. I got work up to there, so I don't need to push anything. If you don't want to do it, just say no now, and I'll stop it, throw us in the bin, and leave somebody else take it.
John, do you know of any other bits that have led the council to
Sorry?
Do you know any other bits where the council should be throwing the match funding? So I haven't heard of any.
No, none at all. I've got a list here of all the councils that have, all the towns that have gone through the bids process. I have not yet, and I've been to several bids meetings in Swansea, Leamington Spa. Leamington Spa is another good example of a successful bid. But, you know, at the end of the day, this is something which you will control. So if it fails, you'll be to blame.
And it's only set for 5 years.
That's the answer. But for the first time, you'll have a say in what you're doing. So if you do it wrong, you're the ones who can say, I buggered that up.
No, what I would like to say, I work for a national business, and there's something about 150 towns and cities in Britain that are part of it. And now, my company will, you know, I'm sure you've read about boots and their tax and stuff like that, okay, and what have you. You know, no national business will want to pay out money where they don't see a return. Now, Boots actively support this throughout Britain. So whenever there's a big process going, they say, yeah, that's fine, because they know there's a benefit for the town or the city that forms part of that bid. So, yes, Swansea might want to spend their money policing the town, which, yeah, other people do. The whole thing about the bid, it stands for Business Improvement District, and it's about improving what we've got in this town. And yes, we could say, well, okay, Carmarthen's not that bad. But actually, in 5 years' time, where will Carmarthen be? Because if the likes of actually are pulling things out and getting on the border, you know, is our business going to move elsewhere? And that's the whole idea of this, is that we take control of what's going on in this town. And yes, it will mean that our businesses will have to put their hand in their pocket and put money into it. But the benefit for the whole town, it's been proven across Britain. It's been proven across the world. I think there's 1,000.
It started in Canada and then to America. There's over 1,000 now. One of the things which I think the greatest failing of any town, from my perspective, is apathy. And we've been around 300 businesses this week, which is quite disappointing to see there's only 40 here, 10%. So that's a tick in the apathy box straight away. And if the town continues to do that, you know, there's only one way you go, and you're not going up. You're only going to tread water. And that's the danger, is not doing nothing. And when the councils get strapped and they have to bring everything in just to do the statutory duties, that's when you'll start feeling the pinch. The centres like mine and Merlin's Walk and that, they'll survive because that's what shopping centres do. But Carmarthen is more about 2 shopping centres. The attraction to the bus companies that come in with the hordes of shoppers is the fact that Carmarthen has so many independents. That's the attraction. We saw a bus load today arriving, and most of them they didn't come out of my centre. They were on King Street, Blue Street, Lama Street. And that's what we want. It's...
What's the comments that you get from all the visitors? They've never seen so many shops.
Well, that's its attraction, and it always has been its attraction. The failing in my part would probably be the market, where the market's not doing enough. Whereas the market used to be the standalone attraction to Carmarthen. That needs boosting. I certainly think that should be part of the base. And, really kick up the arse because it needs it.
Can I sum up, John? I go back to the chambers for over 50 years, and I remember years ago when Llanelli town centre was booming, Carmarthen traders were very concerned about it. They were losing business to Llanelli town centre. Thank goodness the county council, or whatever it was, decided to move the town centre out to Carmarthen and Trosted, which meant Carmarthen thrived again. But if Swansea is going to develop as they hope it will, that would be a big threat to Carmarthen. And then back John all the way with us. We must take this bit further on and get Merthyr down. Merthyr had the same problem. They were losing business to Cardiff, only a matter of half an hour or less down the roads, the 470, and then down from Merthyr down to Cardiff. And they were getting concerned that the Merthyr shops were empty and were closing. And they got into this and they turned the centre of Merthyr around. I haven't been there personally, but reading the document here, it's made it a very enjoyable place to shop. And that's what we want for our shoppers to be enjoying in Carmarthen. And I think we should move it on to the next stage. We do have Merthyr down to talk to us from their experience from the start to the end.
For those who...
Can I just add to that? Already I've noticed a difference this summer that there are less people coming in from Pembrokeshire than there were last year. Part of that is because of what's happened in Cardigan recently. Somebody's destroyed all the voting meters.
It's back up now in Deira.
But also you've got the new castle situation. So the whole town is having an uplift, and there's a lot of exciting things going on there. And the other one...
We got competition everywhere,
We'll back up against soon as well. So already this year we've lost some of those Pembrokeshire visitors that we had last year.
Debenhams alone lost
Really
14% of their trade.
Miles back and forth in the middle of their week holiday.
I mean, Debenhams opened a store in Haverford Recently. 14% of the trade comes from there. In Aberystwyth, they're opening 2 big superstores and all the shops that go with that over the next 3 years. Look at the bigger picture around us. Where is easy to get to? If Swansea improved their transport links, we'd be buggered. Because that's the only thing that brings people up from Swansea to here, besides the independence, is the fact it's a nightmare to get into Swansea.
Whatever happens with the big decision, I think people should be aware of the Swansea Bay city feature.
Without a doubt.
People think the Swansea Bay is what you see from the top of Town Hill. It goes all the way down to Fishguard.
Yeah.
And then you close Carmarthen. I'm really concerned, and I was on I'm concerned, that the investment will be sucked into the east. Steve Thomas, the chief executive, we put on at a meeting here some months ago, said that Swansea was like the hole in the donut. Well, from my point of view, I mentioned the donut, but our fear is all the jam will go into that hole.
I think everybody...
So I agree with you, John. We must plan ahead within the context of the city to gear up for that. Well, yes, that is amazing, but also the town forum, not forget the town forum, that it is now quite a muscular body, and next month when it meets, there will be 2 specific schemes, for Jackson's Way and King Street on the cards. So that the town forum accepts that the priority should be to move people from John's area, from the new town.
You can have a few, Alan.
But also the other way, if we market the old town as a people's end, as a tourist area, then hopefully it will be dragged the other way as well.
Well, they do. They get dragged in. The bus trips start coming back. I mean, 5 or 6 years ago, we were having far more bus trips than we are now. That's why that bus station over the bridge was built, you know, where they park the buses. That used to be full every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's not.
So the point I'm trying to make was that there is a mechanism within the town forum.
Oh yes, I agree. I agree with you. And this is not about replacing anything. It's about trying to pull things together better, probably.
Talk to each other.
Yeah, that'd be a start, to talk to everybody and get everybody's opinion. But for too long, the opinions that come on have been with 20, 30 people. You know, and it's, I don't know, I think it's detrimental to the long-term effect, certainly. My worry is, as Alan mentioned, I was at the Swansea Regeneration opening meeting, in one of the statements there that Swansea will be given the biggest part of the funding for that. And they probably need it. You know, it's dire. And then you got the big barrage, 300 million or something on there.
If I may add, it might be worth you doing your consideration making process, perhaps to try and have one meeting on the Swansea Bay City Region subject. Just to see the wider picture, as you mentioned earlier.
Yes. Well, you can fetch in people from there for nothing. I know that people that run there is totally different to the bids in Swansea.
Swansea bid is on the programme for October. Is it October, do you think? October, November. It's on the programme.
So a lot of these things are discussed at the Chamber every month. You know, and we have 300 businesses in town, and we've got 62 members. If there's more members there, you know, you'd have more knowledge of what's going on. Because we campaign on parking, we campaign on street scene, on signage, on marketing, on events and everything. And, you know, do make some inroads into things, but the bigger we are, the better we'll be. And this should just be, because this bid is led by the Chamber. It's not led by me or anything else, it's led by the Chamber, so I'm just one step to get up here.
Ultimately, having 20% of the business community engaged will be reinvested in the future. So 100%.
Oh, that would be lovely, wouldn't it? It really would. You are getting a lot more people engaged with the bids, certainly. And, you know, it seems everything, if you're paying for it, you tend to take more involvement and take more care with it. So, the question is, do we go to the next stage, which would be another meeting, a bigger meeting, probably with a wider remit, with a few champions of the bid there, maybe. What would you say to another meeting? Yes?
Yes. I will.
Yeah. So even though we're, you know, probably only 15%, we'll take the next stage. When we talk about percentage as well, just so I had a quick glance as well as somebody else is speaking there. The average turnout is about 42%, which I find abysmal for these votes. Really, something that affects your pocket, and 42% turnout. Can't understand. If I was paying rates, I'd be a lot more concerned about it. Anyway, if you want information, please email me. I've got cards here, business cards.
Sorry, John, can I say those documents we will put on the Chamber website tonight or tomorrow? So instead of trying to do 20 or 30 emails, you can just go onto the website and download those documents.
If anybody wants a card with my emails, contact details, you want to ask anything you want to ask tonight, the details there. If you want copies of everything I have on bids, you can have it. No problem, I'll email all to you. Yeah, last thing. Membership of the Chamber. It will be a Chamber-led initiative, so you all know, you know, join the Chamber. For what you get out of the Chamber, it's well worth the 35 quid. Was it 35 still? Yeah. And Henry's there to give you a membership form on your way out. Thank you for coming. Coffee outside. Go top of coffee before you go to your coffee. Shit, that was hard.